Born the oldest of 3 siblings in Gifu, Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi's first sporting love was baseball. But chancing across pro wrestling as a junior in high school changed everything for the man we would come to know as the ace of the universe. As a young man, Tanahashi had interest in working out, but he had an additional drive to gain muscle mass through college. While his classmates went into the legal profession, Tanahashi was driven to become a professional wrestler. And on his 3rd attempt at trying out, Tanahashi would be accepted into the NJPW dojo, and on October 10th, 1999, debuted in Korakuen Hall against the man we now know as Togi Makabe.
これからの課題が見つかりましたし、今日からやっとプロレスラーになれました。胸張ってこれから一戦一戦戦ってきます。今日はありがとうございました。
Tanahashi's hard work soon paid off. On October 19th in Fukuoka, Tanahashi faced contemporary Wataru Inoue, and with the Boston Crab secured his first victory in only his 3rd ever match. Formative years for Tanahashi's career were on the backdrop of disorder, but the future ace was not afraid to speak truth to power.
それぞれの思いがあるからそれはさておいてお前たちが本当に怒りをぶつけて本当の力を叩きつけるリングをお前たちが作るんだよ。
Tanahashi took Inoki's words to heart. Making a future for himself meant the creation of a new title, the IWGP U30 Openweight Championship. And in the G2 League tournament, Tanahashi would end up facing his debut opponent of Shinya Makabe in the final and break a 20-match losing streak against him to lift his first career championship, the IWGP U30 Gold. It was not just single success that Tanahashi tasted in 2003, however. On June 13th in the Nippon Budokan, the technical skill of Tanahashi and the brute force of Yutaka Yoshie combined to end a dominant 456-day reign from Masahiro Chono and Hiroshi Tenzan. Dethroning Cho 10, Yoshie and Tanahashi took the IWGP Tag Team Championship for the first time. Not 5 years into his career, Tanahashi was gaining a reputation as a pioneer. When involved in a violent feud with the sinister Makai Club, Tanahashi's issues with Kazunari Murakami would lead to a bloody first cage match in his career. In an empty arena setting Tanahashi wouldn't sample again for 16 years to come, Tanahashi showed his grit, victorious in a match stopped due to blood loss. Tanahashi fast became a figure of hope and stability in a turbulent main event mix at the time. Bob Sapp abandoned the IWGP Heavyweight title in May 2004, and Tanahashi stepped up for his first challenge for the vacant gold June 5th, needing to be knocked out by Kazuyuki Fujita for the underdog to be put to rest, for one night only at least. It wasn't just Tanahashi that had potential in the fast-developing youth scene in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Along with Shinsuke Nakamura and Katsuyori Shibata, he would be named one of the new 3 musketeers, evoking the connections of Shinya Hashimoto, Masahiro Chono, and Keiji Muto. Yet tensions between the young men were high, and between Tanahashi and Shibata especially so. The relationship between Hiroshi Tanahashi and Shinsuke Nakamura was less openly hostile, but still far from entirely amicable. As a duo, though, their combined potential was impossible to ignore, and for Minoru Suzuki and Kensuke Sasaki, impossible to stop. December 11, 2004 saw Tanahashi and Nakamura capture the vacant IWGP Tag Team Championship.
IWGP タッグ王座には棚橋宏、中村慎介の新生タッグチームが王者となりました。
Just 4 weeks later, and Tanahashi and Nakamura were facing off in the main event at the Tokyo Dome. On January 4th, 2005, the IWGP U30 Openweight title was at stake in this first-time singles meeting. The Tokyo Dome was a difficult building for the two young men to fill, but the fans in attendance got a glimpse into NJPW's future writ large. And with a submission victory, Nakamura sees that future from the future ace. Without the IWGP U30 title, Tanahashi wanted to redouble his efforts, and the newly created New Japan Cup in spring presented that opportunity. Tanahashi outlasted an openweight field and a controversial first-round DQ advancement against Yuji Nagata, defeating Manabu Nakanishi to pioneer again as the first New Japan Cup winner. With the lack of defenses, Shinsuke Nakamura would vacate the IWGP U30 title, and Tanahashi won the title back in June of 2005. Christmas Day of that year saw Tanahashi take on a young lion on the brink of excursion in the name of Hiroki Goto for a stunning Cork and Hall encounter that saw the Young Lion Cup winner Goto push Tanahashi to the limit.
逆に後藤との格の違いじゃないですけど、そういうのなんか。
決まりました。会社側から今度の月山大会にレスナーが来ないということを聞かされました。言葉にならない。もしプロレスの神様がいるなら。
2 days after it was announced that IWGP Heavyweight Champion Brock Lesnar would no-show a defense against Tanahashi in Sapporo, a one-night six-man tournament saw Tanahashi and Giant Bernard collide in the final. A barrage of sling blades saw Tanahashi victorious, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion for the first time in his career. A demanding year and a demanding period saw NJPW experiment, and Tanahashi along with it. The WrestleLand brand would allow for Tanahashi to explore some more creative entertainment, and Masked Devilock was a cult hit at the very least. As the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, though, Tanahashi was continuing to represent as strong as he could. January 4th, 2007 saw the first Wrestle Kingdom, a clash between New Japan and All Japan in the Tokyo Dome, where Tanahashi defended his title against Taiyo Kea. Representing NJPW in the face of outside competition and holding the IWGP Gold in a difficult spot for New Japan, Tanahashi's efforts were respected by many, but his different presentation and vision for the promotion were not embraced by all. A big step to his acceptance was in finally overcoming the generation that stood above him, represented most strongly in Yuji Nagata, who had ended his first IWGP reign. His first career G1 trophy, coming at Blue Justice's expense, was critical. Two months later, and back in Ryogoku Sumo Hall, it was G1 winner versus IWGP Heavyweight Champion in a rematch from the G1 final. With an emphatic high-fly flow, Tanahashi started his second reign with the heavyweight gold, and by now it was clear that a corner had been turned. Tanahashi's time is now. While Tanahashi had made the moment his, a young man with an old soul was looking to capture the IWGP himself. Hiroki Goto had only recently returned from excursion, but was gunning for the richest prize in wrestling. It was a clash in ideologies, the challenger representing an older Tokon fighting spirit mentality, and the champion seeking a fresh energy. 3 Ryogoku cards in a 3-month span, and a lack of established main event card meant the match drew poorly, but the fans in attendance made noise of a crowd 3 times its size. As Tanahashi retained, both would cite it as a career favorite encounter. Tanahashi's second reign would end at the hands of eternal rival Shinsuke Nakamura in the Tokyo Dome. Needing to get back in the hunt fast though, Tanahashi would battle through the New Japan Cup in the spring and emerge victorious over Giant Bernard to earn his second spring trophy, but not the IWGP title, which would fall into the hands of an outsider in Keiji Muto.
1月4日東京ドームメインイベントで天才武藤敬司に挑戦する100年に1人の逸材棚橋宏です。どうも。
司法奪還に燃える
Called back from excursion in TNA in an urgent build to recapture the IWGP title for New Japan, Tanahashi took on his former mentor Keiji Muto in what could truly be called Tanahashi's arrival in the hearts of the fans. Having coined his Master of the Century call in the press conference for the Tokyo Dome, the beginning of his third reign as IWGP Heavyweight Champion also cemented his position as the true ace of New Japan itself.
IWGP 取り返した最後にどうぞ東京ドームの皆さん愛してます
That's not to say 2009 was smooth going for Tanahashi, with the Cork and Hall card suddenly impacted by bird flu precautions that prevented CMLL wrestlers from traveling. Tanahashi put his title on the line against Manabu Nakanishi in May.
IWGP 奪還を狙います。どっちが勝ってもおかしくない。
To the shock and deafening surprise of Cork and Hall, the Dai Nakanishi German saw Tanahashi lose his championship to the popular veteran. At Dominion in Osaka the next month, Tanahashi had to fight hard to take down the indeterminate giant, and a high-fly flow secured his 4th IWGP reign. But the obstacles kept coming. A fractured orbital bone forced Tanahashi to vacate the title, with Shinsuke Nakamura, leader of the new Chaos faction, capturing the vacant gold against G1 winner Togi Makabe, as Tanahashi watched from the sidelines and heard a controversial post-match comment.
ピープルズチャンピオンになりました。中村俊輔が IWGP 王者になりました。
この IWGP で昔と同じような輝きがあるか。俺はないと思う。いや
ああ、完全に呪われてますね。
呪われている。
ストロングスタイルの呪いにかかってますね。やっぱりその新日本プロレスでそれにかかってるストロングスタイルの呪いを解けるのは、やっぱり俺しかいねえなって今思いましたね。
Over 4 years deep, the rivalry between Tanahashi and Nakamura had reached a new level. Ryogoku Sumo Hall in November saw a fiercer match than ever before between the two, but it was Nakamura victorious as Tanahashi was forced to reset.
エルボーを叩き込んでいく。中村は膝で返します。頭と頭をぶつけ合います。負けられないという意地がぶつかり合う。いや、人間と人間がぶつかり合っています。ナックルパートが炸裂した。そして左のハイキック。ナックルパート。怒りの鉄拳。時代をつかむボバイエ。カウントが入る。
In the ongoing battle for the future of NJPW, Tanahashi was left without gold or power, but still with passion to protect the Lion Mark. As Pro Wrestling Noah invaded at Wrestle Kingdom 4, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Go Shiozaki, but his issues with Nakamura and Chaos persisted.
新日エースが棚橋の塩崎が
Chaos had been formed when Toru Yano turned on a Great Bash heel teammate Togi Makabe to align himself with Shinsuke Nakamura, eventually leading an exodus to the new faction. It set Yano on a collision course with Tanahashi in a hair versus hair matchup, Yano getting shaved bald thanks to the appearance of Tajiri. And yet, Tanahashi could not defend NJPW all the time. The finals of G1 Climax 20 would see the ace defeated by Satoshi Kojima, the first winner of the G1 not to be contracted to NJPW. Kojima went on to win the IWGP Heavyweight title as well, but Wrestle Kingdom 5 saw the appropriate start of Tanahashi's 5th IWGP reign.
もう一度これからのプロレス界を俺に任せてください。
The next month, Kojima stepped up again to Tanahashi and became the Ace's first defense. Sendai Sun Plaza was sold out for the night, a true sign that Tanahashi's tireless effort to bring NJPW back to prominence was indeed paying off. From here, the defenses kept coming. From New Japan Cup winner Yuji Nagata to Shinsuke Nakamura, Charlie Haas in New York, Hiroki Goto for V5 in Osaka. Giant Bernard in Hokkaido for V6. Nakamura again after his G1 climax victory in Kobe. Tetsuya Naito in Ryogoku Sumo Hall. And for V9, the would-be belt thief, Toru Yano. On December 4th, it was only right that he would take a step toward history, tying Yuji Nagata's all-time defense record at 10 by beating Blue Justice himself. Tanahashi's love and energy was a powerful uniting force, and when Japan was devastated by natural disaster in summer of 2011, Tanahashi, together with Suwama and Go Shiozaki, helped Japan come all together. A profound love for the people and the pro wrestling world held little interest for a man solely driven to fight for money and victory. At Wrestle Kingdom 6, it was Minoru Suzuki who so nearly came away with it all, but Tanahashi prevailed to make history at 11 defenses of the IWGP Heavyweight title.
IWGP とそして新日本を守りました。ちょっと待ってください。岡田和親ですよ。
皆さん、最多防衛記録更新おめでとうございます。そしてお疲れ様でした。これからは逸材に代わってレインメーカーが新日本プロレス引っ張っていきますので。お疲れ様でした。
悪いな岡田、俺はな、生まれてから疲れたことがないんだ。言っとくけどな、IWGP は遠いぞ。
まだ岡田和親には早い。
A brash challenge from an arrogant Kazuchika Okada was seen as hugely premature at best by NJPW fans, and perhaps even Tanahashi himself. Yet, the Rainmaker shock struck, and a new career-defining rivalry began the same night. Tanahashi was without the belt he had held for over a year, but still was a unifying force in pro wrestling and in the fabric of Japanese society overall. On February 19th, All Together returned for a second card in Sendai, the ace again on the winning side. Yet Tanahashi sought gold and glory once more and couldn't let go of the ace age just yet. Despite Okada's momentous rise and impressive first reign, Tanahashi's iron will saw him overcome to lift the IWGP title a sixth time in the same building he lost it at Dominion 2012. Kazuchika Okada would not be denied, however. His sensational return year from Excursion would go down as the unattainable standard for generations to come, as he went on to win the G1 Climax on his first attempt in August, and became the first to save his challenge for January 4th at Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome. On January 4th, 2013, it was love versus money, and Okada and Tanahashi's most remarkable battle yet, capped off with Tanahashi retaining the heavyweight gold. 1 year later, Okada had the IWGP title, but Tanahashi was still the ace. As if proof were needed, a controversial fan vote saw not Okada versus G1 winner Tetsuya Naito, but Tanahashi's challenge for the IWGP Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura take the headline spot at Wrestle Kingdom 8. The first time since September of 2011 that the two eternal foes faced off would be the first time Tanahashi battled Nakamura in his final King of Strong style form. Nakamura had defined the young Intercontinental Championship, but Tanahashi wrote a new chapter with energy to spare for a love call, even without a microphone. One of the most shocking moments of 2012 had been the return of the prodigal third musketeer, Katsuyori Shibata. Bad blood between Shibata and Tanahashi had only continued to brew when Shibata walked out of NJPW in 2005, leading to deep frustration when Shibata defeated the ace in G1 Climax competition.
Hiroshi この10年間は無駄だったのか。勝たなきゃ意味ないよね。
That heartbreaking defeat for Tanahashi led to a memorable rematch in Kobe on September 21st. Tanahashi's classical style and Shibata's straightforward hard hits collided, and Tanahashi was victorious in the end. A war from bell to bell was followed by an emotional embrace afterward, as after over a decade, Shibata and Tanahashi had found common ground. Riding the momentum from his victory over Katsuyori Shibata, Tanahashi challenged AJ Styles, who had made a shocking entry into Bullet Club in the spring, and immediately won the IWGP Heavyweight title. It was another Ryogoku Classic for the ace, and a victory that saw Tanahashi win the IWGP title for a 7th time in his career. The collision course was now set with now two-time G1 Climax winner Kazuchika Okada. With a year of frustration from the Wrestle Kingdom 8 fan poll, and with the eyes of a global audience on the Tokyo Dome for the first time, all momentum was behind the challenger. But with death-defying will and stinging severity, Tanahashi left the Dome as a champion, and Okada in tears. The ace would lose his title the next month to AJ Styles, and as the IWGP moved from Styles back to Okada, Tanahashi steeled himself for the G1. Defeating AJ to reach the final, Tanahashi found himself opposite the man with whom he defined an era in Shinsuke Nakamura. Tanahashi would win his second G1 Climax, and after the bell, shook hands with his rival. 10 years earlier in the Tokyo Dome, their battles began with a handshake denied by Tanahashi. Now accepted, things came full circle for he and Nakamura. Tanahashi breaking the G1 pennant flag in his celebrations would seem poetic in hindsight.
した。がっちりと握手。中村が棚橋をたたえた。涙がこみ上げてくる。
ただ俺も現役引退したわけじゃないからね。まあちょっと膝とか首とか俺も痛いけどさ。
So Tanahashi headed to Wrestle Kingdom 10, the G1 winner and challenger to champion Kazuchika Okada, but in many ways, it was the Rainmaker once again challenging the Ace. Okada had Tanahashi's number many a time over the years, but never had he beaten the Ace one-on-one in the Tokyo Dome. To truly cement himself in the global elite, Okada had to do it on the biggest stage, maintaining wrist control enough to land a final Rainmaker.
IWGP は遠かったらな。俺もここまで追い詰められてないよ。強かったよ、田中さん。またやろうぜ。
寂しいけどな。
Soon after Wrestle Kingdom 10, Shinsuke Nakamura would leave New Japan Pro Wrestling for the United States. In a transformative year for NJPW, Tetsuya Naito suddenly shot to the forefront, with Los Ingobernables de Japón at his side. Naito won the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, but physically abused the belt that Tanahashi's rival had worked so hard to establish. Naito's anti-establishment stance butted heads with Tanahashi, who was the very establishment himself, and Naito vowed in their singles match to drive a nail in the coffin of the Ace, in what was Tanahashi's first match in the Dome in 7 years, not in the main event. Losing a key singles bout in the Tokyo Dome didn't set Tanahashi back far. The very next night, he found team success instead. Alongside Manabu Nakanishi and Ryusuke Taguchi, Tanahashi clinched the never six-man openweight tag team championship, continuing to add to his resume.
こんな急増タックで大丈夫です。まさか取れると思わなかったですね。大丈夫。まあおいおいチーム名まあ発表します。
我々ロス・インゴベルナブレスでハポを応援してくださる代々木のお客様、この後大阪城ホールで
花道を見てください。
エースが来てくれたよ。内藤君、今日もご機嫌ですね。内藤君、なんてなんてはっきり言え、この野郎。いいね、ただかっこいい。俺はな、怒ってんだよ。
ベルトを放り投げます。
このベルトは俺が救います。
Tanahashi had not forgotten the damage to his pride incurred in the Tokyo Dome, nor the damage to the title belt that Naito was continuing to inflict. At Dominion 2017, a furious Tanahashi defeated Tetsuya Naito via submission and restored the title belt by hand. In successive years, Kazuchika Okada and Tetsuya Naito both proved just how key a win over Hiroshi Tanahashi in the Tokyo Dome was. Watching on excursion, a former young lion by the name of Jay White took note, and the switchblade looked to strike at Wrestle Kingdom 12. White's challenge was turned away for the white belt, but it wouldn't be the last time they faced off in one-on-one action. Yet Tanahashi's desire for the very summit of competition and the IWGP title was ever present, and his drive to win the G1 Climax in 2018 as strong as ever. Inspired by Kenny Omega's IWGP title win in June at Dominion, Kota Ibushi made it to his first G1 final. And as Kenny was in Kota's corner, Katsuyori Shibata was a surprise second for the ace in front of a sold-out Nippon Budokan. Ibushi had referred to Tanahashi and Nakamura as two of his own personal deities. And while Ibushi threw all he could at the godlike Tanahashi, he did not have enough on the night. The high fly flow would see Tanahashi to his third and final G1 Climax trophy, and back in the Tokyo Dome main event, an ideological battle with Kenny Omega.
俺は怒ってるよ。みんな拍手してたけど、ここは新日本だから、東京ドームで決着つけようぜ。
Another issue was settled that fall for Tanahashi and Okada. Now, with Switchblade Jay White at the helm, Bullet Club targeted Chaos, but Tanahashi made an unlikely save. A handshake that shook the world followed, and Chaos and Hantai were on the same page. Another big moment in an MVP-worthy year for the Ace.
...2018年、プロレス大賞 MVP をいただきました棚橋です。 G1 クライマックスの、決勝からすごく自分でも話題の中心に行くなっていう手応えをつかんで、ドームに向けて話題をね、振って期待感を高めていくっていうことがね、できたのが、とても評価されてよかったです。
The issue to be settled in the Tokyo Dome with Kenny Omega was not only one of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, but differing philosophies in a time where the wrestling world was growing and diverging. Tanahashi's flamboyance in colors was years before a new answer to what Tanahashi had seen as a staid and, in his own words, cursed image of strong-style pro wrestling. Merging old traditions with new ideas had helped Tanahashi lead NJPW into an undeniable boom. But Kenny Omega was thinking of yet another step beyond. His hyper-athletic but key to Tanahashi, hyper-aggressive and high-risk style, where table breaks were as common as body slams, was problematic for the Ace. A style not to reject, but certainly to temper. Omega, in his mind, was convinced his way was the only way, willing to leave New Japan Pro Wrestling behind for ventures new, should he prove unable to change the world in his vision. As the Ace persisted against Omega at his maniacal Terminator-like best, he had become champion for an incredible 8th time, the first in 4 years.
IWGP のベルトを巻くのはおよそ4年ぶり。
正直言うと、もうこの舞台には帰ってこれないかと思ってました。またこの IWGP のベルトと新しい風景を作っていきます。今日は本当にありがとうございました。会場の皆さん、愛してます。
久しぶりにこの一言で東京ドーム。
That vision may have been a beautiful and nostalgic one for the Ace, but it was short-lived in the end. Switchblade Jay White, 1 year on from Tokyo Dome defeat, avenged the Ace in Osaka, ending Tanahashi's reign on 0 defenses. Still with a classical wrestling vision, Tanahashi headed to Madison Square Garden in New York to face a new generation of classical greats. The Ace battled Zack Sabre Jr. in MSG for the British Heavyweight Championship, but was forced to submit to the Submission Master and spent several weeks recovering from his injuries. Tanahashi would not let the defeat go unanswered, though. When NJPW debuted in the Copper Box Arena in London for Royal Quest, it was a high-fly flow to Sabre Jr. that saw Tanahashi emerge with the British Heavyweight Championship. Yet another new addition to an already legendary trophy cap. In October of 2019, Tanahashi marked 20 years of an incredible career in 6-man action, defeating debut opponent Togi Makabe with contemporary Wataru Inoue watching on from his corner. But as he turned into a new decade, Tanahashi had his sights set on an international star. It was at the time the biggest Wrestle Kingdom to date, and the Ace wanted a significant opponent. With the challenge issued to Chris Jericho, Tanahashi wanted to up the stakes, saying that if he beat the then AEW World Champion, he should get a shot at the gold in the United States. The back and forth between the two legends would see Tanahashi coin the phrase Kindan no Tobira, the forbidden door. But it was a door that would remain closed for now, as Jericho was victorious with the Walls of Jericho. Little did anyone know at the time, the doors would remain shut for quite some time, and not by choice. The pandemic of 2020 would shut the whole world and shut down NJPW for 110 days. When the wrestlers were finally allowed to wrestle, even in front of no people, the emotion was most evident in the Ace.
応援してくれるファンの皆さんの存在がどれだけ嬉しくてありがたくてプロレスラーにとってどれだけ尊いものかっていうことを今拙者は感じていると思います。
That led to a Wrestle Kingdom unlike any before. But while the atmosphere had changed, the opportunity it represented was still great. Great Khan had hit NJPW in October, and the United Empire had been formed. The Dominators sought to take down the Ace, but Tanahashi's iron will proved too strong on January 4th, 2021. It was a tremendous start to the year for Tanahashi, and the Ace kept the momentum going through January. Targeting Shingo Takagi, Tanahashi showed a harder edge befitting of the Never Openweight Championship, and was victorious over Takagi to lift the Never Gold for the first time in his career. A rematch for the two came in the Tokyo Dome that summer. Takagi had gone on to lift the vacant IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and as challenger Kota Ibushi was absent due to illness, Tanahashi stepped up in his place on 2 days' notice. As the Olympics took place in Tokyo with no spectators, the Tokyo Dome saw fans rejoice in person with an excellent bout, but this time with Shingo Takagi victorious. Tanahashi continued to be the figure of hope in difficult times worldwide, returning to the United States in summer of 2021 at Resurgence to win the IWGP US title from Lance Archer. Kenta stood in Tanahashi's path, and the Ace showed yet a different side of himself at Wrestle Kingdom 16. The Ace got hardcore in a street fight for the title, and though Tanahashi was victorious, it was a Pyrrhic victory. Tanahashi winning with weapons, brutality, and the highest of high fly flows. Having put his body on the line through the quiet, nobody appreciated the fans' cheers returning more after 2.5 years. Those cheers returned in time for the Tokyo Dome in Keiji Muto's last NJPW match. A responsible protege to the last, Tanahashi talked Muto out of a moonsault, but was there to raise his hand in the end. And speaking of responsibility,
この度代表取締役社長に就任いたしました棚橋宏です。全力で頑張っていきますので、皆様棚橋宏、そして新日本プロレスを応援よろしくお願いします。
It was more big news right before the Tokyo Dome. On a wave of attention and momentum, Tanahashi ended a 365-day reign for Zack Sabre Jr. to win the NJPW World Television Championship for the first time in his career. Tanahashi presided over massive change, and the news shortly after his appointment that Kazuchika Okada was leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okada's last singles match was with the Ace in Osaka, bringing his post-excursion career full circle 12 years removed from the Rainmaker shock. More change came in the summer. Defeated by Bolton Oleg in the play-in, Tanahashi faced his first summer without a G1 climax on the schedule since 2002, breaking a record streak of entries. Clearly at a turning point, the Ace made a decision and acted on it after his 25th anniversary match in Ryogoku Sumo Hall. January 4th, 2026 would be the final go-around for the Ace of the Universe.
棚橋のゴールを決めました。2026年1月4日。
While the world wanted the next year to last a lifetime, things could not come soon enough for Evil, who vowed to retire the Ace a year early on from 2026. Tanahashi agreed to a lumberjack match with his career at stake at Wrestle Kingdom 19. Just as he had countless times before, Tanahashi overcame the odds to come away with the W and had an extra surprise lumberjack to chase away House of Torture. At less than 24 hours' notice, Tanahashi took on Katsuyori Shibata in a special exhibition bout. Neither held back, and as time expired, connections and kinship marked the first step on Tanahashi's final road. Tanahashi had a plan for his final road: to wrestle as many singles matches with as many wrestlers in NJPW and beyond as possible. On March 6th, that included the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Hiroki Goto. In a match that highlighted the significant history both men had with one another, Goto finally put away the Ace with a top title on the line.
ケイオスの関係性変わるんじゃねえか。
この試合は棚橋宏プロデュース試合。
Chaos and Hontai joined together as Tanahashi's kinship and connection with so many was celebrated back at Tanahashi Jam in Nagoya. Opposite the legendary Tatsumi Fujinami and alongside now Mishimoto Fuji, Tanahashi wrestled twice in one night, the last night of Dolphins Arena in Nagoya. In a year of lasts, the ace returned to G1 competition for one final run. Recording his 100th tournament match victory, Tanahashi set a record seemingly impossible to surpass, befitting his legacy in pro wrestling at large.
棚橋の最後の夏、クライマックスが幕を閉じました。もう俺の人生で G1 に出ることはないのか。結果は振るいませんでしたけど G1 クライマックス出られてよかったです。
最後の引退試合でみんなに何かねお返しできるようなそんなコンディションね含めて全力で残り96日走りますので皆さん最後までついてきてください。よろしくお願いします。
While Tanahashi's resume, accomplishments, and achievements make him a standard bearer in his field, it's the themes of his final road that are most significant. To his peers and seniors, both rivals and allies, a kinship and eternal brotherhood. To those who would carry the torch in future, a connection that sees Tanahashi remain as Ace Eternal. The final road for Hiroshi Tanahashi ends January 4th, 2026 in the Tokyo Dome, but his legacy will always extend far beyond.